Hello, horror fans and movie lovers. Welcome back to my channel, and today, we're talking all about The Nun 2, the movie that continues the spooky story from The Nun. Remember that creepy demon nun Valak from The Conjuring 2? Well, she's back to give us more chills in this sequel. We'll take a close look at The Nun 2 to see if it lives up to the hype or falls flat like the first one. We'll break down the story, talk about the scary parts, and discuss how the actors did. By the end of this review, you'll know whether this movie is worth watching or if it's just more of the same. So, get ready, turn down the lights, and let's dive into The Nun 2. But watch out, there might be some spoilers along the way. In The Conjuring 2, audiences were introduced to a genuinely terrifying and mysterious character, the demon nun Valak. This eerie and unsettling presence hinted at the potential for a rich and terrifying cinematic universe within the world of The Conjuring. The success of the first two films in the franchise, both directed by James Wan, had set high expectations for what was to come. However, when the spin-off film The Nun was released in 2018, it left many viewers disappointed. Unfortunately, its sequel, The Nun 2, directed by Michael Chaves, shares a similar fate. The Nun 2 continues the story, picking up 5 years after the events of the first film. Sister Irene, portrayed by Tasa Farmiga, befriends a new nun named Deborah, played by Storm Reed. The Vatican requests Irene to perform another miracle because Valak, the menacing demon nun, continues to wreak havoc across Europe. Religious figures are being brutally murdered, and Irene and Deborah embark on a mission to a French boarding school to understand Valak's motives and find a way to banish her back to the depths of hell. Valak is the central figure of horror in The Nun 2. Unfortunately, the film's biggest misstep is its overexposure of this once terrifying character, instead of maintaining the mystery and fear by keeping Valak shrouded in darkness and ambiguity. The filmmakers put her in the spotlight far too often. They rely on subpar CGI effects to showcase her, which occurs with tiresome frequency. This overexposure causes Valak to lose her eerie aura and becomes more of an expected presence rather than an intentionally chilling thrill. What was meant to startle only provokes sighs from the audience. One of the film's most significant shortcomings is its lack of inventive scare tactics. Director Michael Chaves seems committed to using tired horror tropes and cliches throughout the movie, rather than allowing fear to organically build. The film resorts to loud jumps and cheap jump scares. It's as if the film has a checklist of generic horror moments that it diligently follows, prioritizing these scares over any narrative depth or originality. The result is a series of vignettes that adhere to a strict quota on scares, leaving little room for genuine fear to develop. One of the few redeeming aspects of The Nun 2 is Tasa Farmiga's performance as Sister Irene. She brings nuance and growth to her character, transforming Irene from a timid individual in the first film into a more confident and powerful presence. Farmiga's performance injects energy into the film, even when she's faced with terrifying situations. Storm Reed, who plays Deborah, also delivers a solid performance, but her character feels more like a sidekick rather than an equal. Jonas Blake reprises his role as Morris, who now works as a handyman at the girls' boarding school. His budding romance with a teacher and his protective instincts towards her daughter add emotional depth and stakes to the story. However, even his character falls into the same repetitive patterns that plague the rest of the film, with limited opportunities for meaningful development. In essence, The Nun 2 lacks the sophistication and surprise elements essential for a successful horror film. It relies too heavily on cliched scare tactics and fails to capitalize on its talented cast. While Tasa Farmiga gives her best effort to shine, the film ultimately lacks the substance and creativity needed to support her performance. As a result, The Nun 2 falls short of the expectations set by the Conjuring franchise and leaves audiences wanting more from this potentially rich and terrifying cinematic universe. Thanks for hanging out with us today as we explored The Nun 2. If you're a fan of spooky movies, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more horror movie reviews. And if you've seen The Nun 2, let us know in the comments what you thought of it. Until next time, stay spooky, and remember, not all nuns are as nice as they seem.